What's up everyone, and today I'm bringing a deck profile on my Chrysalis deck. Now Chrysalis is a very weird deck and also a not a very good deck either. I bet you've never even heard of this deck before, but you've probably heard of Neospace. This is a deck that works with Neospacian. Now before we get into the video, I'd just like to remind you to hit that subscribe button because less than 90% of you are not. Now let's fix that. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. First off, I run 3 Chrysalis Dolphin. If you control Neospace, you contribute Dolphin to special summon 1 Neospace Aqua Dolphin from your deck or hand. That's what the Chrysalis monsters do. They special summon a specific Neospacian by tributing themselves, but you have to control Neospace to activate the effect. That's where the deck isn't too good. I've never seen a deck that relies more on a field spell than this deck, because without the field spell, the effects of the Chrysalis monsters don't even work. It's essentially the same as non-effect monsters. And that being said, even the Neospacian monsters they go into aren't all that great either. Also on the 2 Chrysalis Mole, this one summons the Grand Mole. I run 2 Pantel. This one summons Dark Panther. The 1 Chrysalis Chicky that runs the Hummingbird. And of course all of them need Neospace in order to activate the effects. Onto the Neospacian, I run 3 Aqua Dolphin. Aqua Dolphin's the one that I think there's actually a loop with this to where you could like hand loop your opponent or something like that. I don't think it's really quite any good now, maybe because getting a monster with high attack in this deck is very difficult. Also run the 2 Glow Moths. I'm not going to explain its effect because I will just tell you it's bad. The only reason I'm running it is because I need to run Neospacians to get them in the grave to activate the effect of Cocoon Party. Also run the 1 Hummingbird, which I forgot to order. Essentially, once per turn you can gain 500 life points for each card in your opponent's hand. So all it really does is get you life points. Also run the 1 Dark Panther. Now Dark Panther is one I'm actually considering bumping up to maybe 2 or even 3. Because the effect of Dark Panther actually isn't too bad. I'd say it's the best Neospacian. So I'd probably bump it up to 2, maybe 3. Essentially, it can gain the effect of one of your opponent's face-up monsters, which could be pretty good if you're going second. Like, let's say you're going second, they have an Opalus on field, or no, let's say they have a Dragoon on field. Activate Dark Ruler, negate its effects, then you can just take the effect. Also run the 1 Grand Mole. Whenever it attacks a monster, it bounces it back to hand. This card was actually, I think, either banned or limited at one point. I also run the 2 Neospace Connector. Works really good with Neospacian. When it's normal summon, you can special summon a Neospacian from your deck, which is pretty good. Moving on to the spells. I run 3 Neospace. You need it in order to activate the effect of the Chrysalis monsters. And I'm not really going to go over its effect because its effect is it's awful. Like, you don't even use this effect. The only reason you use it is to activate the effect of the Chrysalis monsters. Also run the 1 Necro Valley, mainly because I run Terraforming and a set rotation. Necro Valley is pretty good considering you don't activate monsters in the grave, and you don't really summon monsters from the grave either. Next, I run 3 Cocoon Party. You special summon Chrysalis monsters from your deck up to the number of Neospacian monsters in your grave. So this is really good for getting those Chrysalis monsters onto the field. Then again, you want to have multiple Neospacians in the grave, which is not easy to do in of itself. But I did actually find a way to kind of help it out a little. Next, I run 3 Pot of Prosperity. Prosperity is really good in this deck because I do not use the extra deck one bit. Well, I do, but just for generic stuff. Like, some people run the Neospacian fusions. I don't, because they're not bad, but you don't really get a whole bunch of extra out of them, and you have to run, next in order to get it, which to me it wasn't worth it. I'd just rather run like a Opalus, an IP package, stuff like that. Next, I run 3 Transmodify. Essentially, you would attribute a Chrysalis to special summon a Neospacian from your deck, because all the Chrysalis are level 2s and all the Neospacians are level 3. I also run the 1 Rhoda, because Connector and Aqua Dolphin are warriors, and the 1 card destruction. Moving on to the traps. I run 3 Soul Drain. I actually consider Soul Drain to be pretty good in this format. And I also run 3 Summon Limits. Summon Limit's really good with this deck because you're not going to be special summoning a whole lot with this deck to begin with, because the deck is just that slow. I considered running stuff like Mystic Mine, but I felt like Summon would be the best. And I also run 2 Needlebug Nests because it's a mill card. Send 5 cards from the top of your deck to the grave. So when this deck needs the Neo Space into in the grave, this helps with that. Moving on to the extra deck. Now the rest of this doesn't really matter too much because honestly the extra deck is just good extra deck cards. That's really it. So I run the IP Masquerena package with Masquerena, Phoenix, Cerberus, and Unicorn, as well as Sporal Sword, Access Code, and Appaloosa. And I also run a Barricade Ward blocker for the field spell. And the rest, it doesn't really matter what you put in from there. You can put in Blackluster Soldier, some rank 2 XYZ. You don't really use the extra deck that much considering I do not run the fusions. So I have a whole bunch of extra deck space for the Pot of Prosperity. That's going to be all for this deck profile. What do you think of Chrysalis? Do you think it's a cool deck? Do you think it's a terrible deck? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video I make. Bye.